I was traveling from Embu, coming towards Nairobi on some work assignment. So as I'm driving toward Nairobi, it was on a Tuesday afternoon. As I'm driving, I receive a call from a pastor friend of mine, and he tells me there is an evangelism crusade or meeting that is to take place in Uganda. If I could go for a series of the evangelism meetings. So I tell him, okay, Pastor, let me pray about it before I give you my response. So I pull the car to the side, I pray indeed about it, then I call him back and tell him, that is fine. It is something I'm willing to do. However, be it known to you that one, I don't have a passport. And you're saying that I need to travel on a Thursday, and this is Tuesday. So if it is the Lord's will, then I have said yes, but I don't have a passport.
And you're going from Kenya to Uganda?
I'm going from Kenya to Uganda, and I need a passport for that. So he says, okay, you just do it. So I keep on driving. Then I call my wife, and I tell my wife, hey, by the way, I'm supposed to go to Uganda for some duration, for a lengthy duration, actually 6 weeks. Will it be okay with you or by you? And she says, if it's the Lord leading, you go right ahead. So I say, fine. So I get home, we pray about it with the family. Then now on Wednesday, remember I received the phone call on a Tuesday. I'm supposed to travel on Thursday. Now on Wednesday, I need now to process my papers for the passport and everything. So we wake up as usual in the morning, have our breakfast, then proceed to town together with my wife. When we get to town, that's at around 10 a.m. We get to town, there's only one place in Nairobi that issues out passports. That is Nyayo House. So we get to Nyayo House, and when we get into the entrance, we really do not know where to go. So we get in, past the security check, there's a line to the right and a side to the left. So I tell my wife, let's go towards the left. We go towards the left. And apparently that is for foreigners who want their passports either extended or whatever. So we go to the left, and over there I get an administration policeman, AP, with, he's in the camouflage attire, together with a rifle. So I approach him and tell him, hey, sir, excuse me, I'm interested in getting a passport because I'm going to Uganda. And he can tell that I'm Kenyan. And he does not respond to me. He's on his phone. So he looks at me, listens to me, then doesn't respond to me. He walks away from me. So I stand with my wife, and my wife asks me, did he hear you? But he goes, he speaks to someone in there, then he comes to me and tells me, come with me, follow me. So I go with him, just following him. So we look at one another, and my wife, apparently he heard me. So we go out. But now we don't go to where I thought one were to go, that is Nyayo House. We go right out of the building altogether. And he takes me to somebody and tells this gentleman, you see this guy? He needs a passport and he doesn't have paperwork. Help him fill out the paperwork, everything, and don't ask him for anything. So I go with this guy to a cyber cafe. This guy does all the paperwork on the computer, everything that I was supposed to do. He spends like 40 minutes. He fills up everything. The only thing he told me to do was pay the fee that is supposed to be paid to the government. So we paid by a process or an agency called M-Pesa. We paid. The response came on phone. He validated it. Then what he then does is that he prints the papers, gives them to me, complete with the photographs of myself, my daughter, and my wife. All right? So all the paperwork we have, then he gives them to me and tells me, now go back to Nyayo House.
So you didn't need just one passport, you needed
I needed 3.
Yeah.
For myself, for my daughter, and for my wife. Because we'd be gone for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And actually, during that time, it coincided with the school holidays. So I opted to go with my daughter to Uganda for the evangelism crusade. So we go back into Nyayo House. When we get to Nyayo House, we are now directed to go to the right side when you get into the building. We go to the right side now, that's where the Kenyans are who are applying for the passports. So when we get to that side, that's at around 11 o'clock. We find a queue around, a whole forest of people. So many people. But in your house, when you get in, you've got to get these there's a numbering system. You get in, press, and then you'll know what number you are. So when I pressed, I was, I think, 590 something. So I pressed that. The receipt came out, 500 and something. My wife pressed. She was 500 and, okay, the number after me. So he picked. But in the entire lobby, it's full of people. So we inquire, how long have you guys been here? Some said they've been there since 7 in the morning. This is 11. We need a passport that day for us to travel, now the following day. Now I sit with my wife. Now I wonder, what do we do? I look at the counter, they're handling, I think, the person around number 200. It is at 11. These people have been there since 7 in the morning. So I ponder with my wife, then she leaves me. She says she's going to figure out something, or she's going to see if there's another office. And in my mind, I'm wondering, you can very well see in the lobby is where passports are being issued. Where else are you going? But I don't tell her, and she departs from me. So she goes wherever she went. Apparently, when she went, she met someone that we last met over 10 years ago. So she meets with this person, and I remember we had assisted their children, 2 daughters of that person, over 10 years ago. So coincidentally, she meets with him at that particular moment. So she grabs his hand and tells him, you know what are you doing here? It's been so long, all that pep talk. So what do you people need here? Oh, we need a passport. Where are you traveling to? Uganda. When are you traveling? Hopefully on Thursday.
Which was tomorrow.
Which was not the following day. Hopefully the very following day, which was Thursday. And she was meeting with him on a Wednesday. That's at around 11 o'clock. Remember, we've gotten into Nyayo House at 10 something, heading to 11. So the next thing I know, now I'm seated, now wondering, what do I do? I receive a call from her. George, where are you? I'm like, I'm at the lobby where you left me. He says, okay, stand up. Can you turn to the right? I stand up and look to the right. Can you see me? And she's waving her hand. I can say, yeah, I can see you. Come with all the papers, come. So I go. And then she introduces me to that man. I knew him fleetingly, so pleasantries are exchanged. Then he tells me, what is it that you want? I said, I want a passport for myself, my daughter, and my wife. And tells me, that is very easy. Come. And he opens a door, leads us directly into the head of immigration. The head of immigration stamps my documents, my wife's documents, and my daughter's documents. Guess what? No passport is ever to be issued if the person is not there. In this case, my daughter's passport was issued in her absence.
That's amazing.
It's really amazing. And within less than an hour since we got into the building, we got out with our passports. So we leave the building, and then I tell my wife, this truly is a miracle. Let's go back and say thank you to the administration policeman who initiated all this. You remember? Yeah. When we got in? So we get out and now go to the other side. When you go to the other side, I ask for the administration policeman who was putting on the fatigues, the camouflage uniform with a rifle. We want to say thank you to him. And we are told in no uncertain terms, get out of here. This place is not manned by APs. There's been no AP here since morning. More or less somebody with a gun. Nobody like that has been here. Get out of here or we take administrative action. Can you get out? So we left wondering, who was this person who helped us in the morning? Within an hour, we got everything we required. And those people who had been there since 7 in the morning, we left them there, still unattended.
Praise the Lord.
Amen. That could only have been the agencies of God. And I remember telling my wife, this must have been an angel.
Yes.
This must have been an angel who was sent directly from God to assist us. And we went.
So now you went where? You went from Kenya to Uganda to do a series of evangelistic meetings.
We were leaving from Kenya to Uganda to do a series of evangelistic meetings. And that was not only the only miracle. Remember, we were to go to Uganda. The pastor who called me told me we needed to have electronic equipment, either something to project our meetings with. We didn't have a projector, we didn't have anything. And I remember telling my wife and telling the pastor, if this truly is the will of God, 1, we shall get a passport. 2, we'll get a what? A projector or a TV.
Mm-hmm.
After we got the passport, I remember now making a few phone calls, now asking for a projector. After exactly 2 phone calls, I was referred to a friend of mine. This friend of mine told me, if it's a projector you need, just come to my office. So I go to his office, and he tells me, for how long will you be in Uganda? I tell him 6 weeks. He tells me, that's a projector, go with it. Use it for the duration you want, and don't return it. I will ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had that projector, the one we've been using since then.
Amen.
And the brother left for South Africa, is currently in South Africa. That's not the end of it. Going to Uganda, I was with my daughter. We traveled now on the Thursday. Now we already have the passports. We traveled with my daughter from midnight Thursday, heading on to Friday, so that we could reach Uganda in good time before sunset on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So as we are leaving for Uganda, in the previous place where I used to work, I received a phone call from one of the employees I was in charge of. He's called Crispin. Out of the blue, remember I'm leaving at what time with my daughter? Midnight.
Mm-hmm.
So at around 1 a.m., I received a call from Crispin, whom I last spoke to over 2 years ago, previously. And he tells me, George, I've been thinking about you. How are you? I'm like, I'm very fine. Where are you? I'm like, presently I'm on my way to Uganda, heading to Busia. And he says, I'm also on leave. Do you have someone who can assist you at the border? I tell him, no, I don't have. Do I need assistance at the border? He tells me, no, my brother assists people crossing into Uganda, and he can assist you. That is not around 1 a.m. Someone I've not spoken to, how long? Over 2 years. He calls me at around 1 a.m. So he gives me the contact of his brother who helps people cross the border in Uganda. So we drive. We get to the border at around 6 in the morning. When we get to Uganda, I call this gentleman, and he receives my call, and he tells me, where are you? I tell him, I'm at the border right now. He tells me, okay, come. Fine. So he comes to where we are, picks the vehicle, which was laden with a lot of evangelism material, the whole car. So my daughter was seated in front, laden with evangelism material. So he tells me, you look tired. What you do, go to the hotel. So my daughter and I go to the hotel and eat, freshen up and eat. The moment we finish our breakfast, he comes with the vehicle, with all our documents stamped, everything he has done, and he tells us, proceed to Uganda. I ask him, how much? He tells me, no. Crispin tells me you are a very good boss of his, so this is a favor I have done for you because you used to be a good boss to Crispin.
Praise
And
the
we
Lord.
crossed the border. It was so amazing.
Praise God.
So yes, that is basically my testimony for now.
Hallelujah.
There's so much more that took place in Uganda.
Yes.
So much more. But in all, that is our experience, how the Lord has led us. And since then, this family of ours, there's nothing we lack. We have everything we need in Christ.
Amen.
Amen.
We don't beg for anything. We don't borrow for anything. We don't have a steady job. We do the Lord's work. Let's put it this way. If I have a job slated for, say, wherever, and I'm called to preach somewhere, our job ends. We do the Lord's work.
Mm-hmm.
And never once have we lacked. As a matter of fact, when I used to be in employment, Mama Nat, the house you used to live in was worth how much per month? It was generally cheaper than the house you're living in now. The school she used to go to when I was in employment, before I gave my work, ourselves to work for the Lord, was a cheaper school than she's currently in right now. But I guarantee you, ever since we prioritized the Lord's work, this house has never lacked anything.
Amen.
We've never borrowed for any. And we've been having constant and consistent favors we cannot explain. I cannot begin to tell you. Probably my wife can. Probably Natalie can. But yes, you never lose serving the Lord.
Amen.
Yeah, and it's truly something that, when people say in Joshua, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. It's not a cliche. In this house, we will serve the Lord.
Amen.
Yes.
Praise God.
Yeah.